Beep. Good grief, why am I so stupid? So this is why I'm changing this, is because this little snowflakes I made out of all plastic, you know? And when you're in those tight quarters trying to pull that stupid clip hose and it goes just a little bit, breaks off. This thing's almost brand new. The pump's fine. So, yeah. I'm going to pull that pulley off, throw that in the box, run into the parts store and taking my core back. So the nut is a 14 millimeter that I'm using. It may be something different depending on what you dig out of your toolbox. But I'm going to slide that up on there first. Throw the small washer on that fits the nut. Throw the big washer on that fits the pulley. Now just thread this guy down as far as I can. Make sure you get a lot of threads out of that. And then run this nut down. And hopefully, if everything works out right, always make sure you put your nut on first, or your wrench on the right way, so that you're not going, oh no. So here we go. I'm going to tighten that sucker up and run that pulley right on down under that shaft. Take a look at it, make sure we're getting close. We're real close. I usually just go until it stops. It's getting pretty tight now. And that's it. It stopped. Now, I gotta get this back out of here. And I can't get this off. So I gotta get another 14. I'd like to use this end on here. I'd like to get some wrenches with the flippers here, you know, so I can change it up. Found another 14. So I'll just hold this pulley. Get that 14 on there. Break that baby loose. One more time. Get off of there. Once that's loose, this should come right out. And then just check and make sure you're flush on the shaft here. Good. We're ready. Whenever you get a new power steering reservoir and pump, keep your cap. Even I got one for the Camaro. You didn't get the cap with it. You have to keep your cap, but you have to turn this in for your core charge. So make sure you get everything that you can. Pulley, cap, anything else that you might think you need. But yeah, you're just going to get the basics. And this is some of the cheapest garbage, man. I'm telling you, I gotta be super careful putting this back in, because that's what broke on me on the other one, just from pulling the hose off. So I can't be a Neanderthal like I usually am. Is old school power steering pumps. You put fluid in after it's installed and you crank the wheel back and forth all the way this way, hold it for a minute, all the way that way, hold it for a minute. Pretty soon it starts getting easier and it stops squealing and making noise, and then you're done. You bled it. That's how you bleed old school power steering pumps. Not this one, apparently. This one, apparently, you have to spend more money and buy one of these. So this, and then upon opening it, it is like super cheap. And by cheap, I don't mean inexpensive. I mean, it's going to fall apart after the first couple of uses. But I do need to bleed the brakes on the Camaro again, and this might come in pretty handy for that if it survives bleeding this out. And what they say you do is you get your fluid in, get it installed, get your fluid in, get your hoses hooked up and all that jazz, of course. Crank the wheel back and forth a couple times and get one of these guys. I'm assuming it's this. And you get it on top of there and you pump it up and it creates suction and it pulls all the air bubbles out. Okay, we'll see. All right, here we go. Let's see how this is going to work out for us. I got to remember, don't touch that on anything because it's like an egg. I'm going to put the cap back in it just so if I touch something, I don't knock any gunk down in there. And I'm going to touch stuff because this is like 2 tons of junk in a 1-ton dumpster. All right, I got my bolts, I got my extension, I got my ratchet, and I got my 13 millimeter. If you've noticed, I put Loctite on a lot of stuff. I'm not going to put it on here because probably don't need it for one. Also, as cheap as this thing is, I'm probably going to be changing it a couple hundred times. So I don't want to have to struggle getting the bolts out. By the time this is all said and done, I'm going to become an expert at changing a power steering pump on a 2004 Monte Carlo SS Super Sport Supercharged 3800. All right. There's the eggshell. Don't touch that on anything if you know what's good for you. Turn on the light. Let's see what we got. I better get the dust just completely out of the way before I end up in a knot. I have to call 911 to come get me out of the car. Taking that tensioner pulley off was pretty much the only way to do it. I didn't see anything else, any other way to get that done. All right. Now, if I can see where it bolts up. I remember when they used to make cars out of metal. I'm holding the sun. It's already stuck. I don't even know what I did. Can't see where the bolt goes. Okay, bolt goes there. There's the bolt. Let's get the bolt where it's supposed to be. I think I'm going to go for the bottom one first. We're going for the bottom hole because I can see where that one goes. So, well, of all the shenanigans, how am I going to get that out of there now? How did I get it in there? There. Yeah. All right. Back in here. Nice. The sun is in my eyes. Okay, I see that bolt hole. This is some of the dumbest. So hello there. It's come down to this. It's ready. Got to put some power steering fluid in it because of the new pump. And conveniently, the pump is located down below that, under that, and behind that. So I had to make a hose on my funnel and feed it down in there. This way I can much more easily, severely overfill it. And I don't know how much to put in it. I don't want to overfill it. I'll leave it at that for a second. There we go. Drip that all over the place. Good stuff. Come on. Why are my hands so fat? So the old school power steering pumps, you would just put some fluid in it, start the car up, start turning the wheel back and forth all the way as far as you can one way and then all the way the other way, and that would pretty much bleed up the power steering system, and then you're good. Now this little snowflake, it wants some suction. So on these new power steering pumps, apparently you're supposed to somehow behind all of that, down there, underneath that, behind that, and under there, and around that corner, you get this little suction cup cap on top of the thing, and then squeeze the thing and put this thing there, and some stuff might go in here or something. This is my first time. The way I understand it, you're supposed to crank the wheels without starting the car, which we haven't started this car yet. And that'll work some fluid through the system, and then it wants vacuum and stuff and bubbles, and so let's see what happens. That's all I know. Excuse me. Well, it's getting easier to turn. Just kidding. It's in the air. So don't take my word for this, but I can get the phone down in there. There's the top to the power steering pump. And I need to put my fat hand down in there. Get the cap off of it. It does show that there's some fluid in there. That's good. I'm supposed to put some fluid around this so it creates a suction. Put it in there and pump it or something or another. We'll see. So after a couple of half-hearted failed attempts, obviously I do not have the right fitting for the top of that power steering reservoir. So it's not going to create suction. I had vacuum built up for just a second, and then I didn't. So we're all ready to go. I got some power steering fluid on the belt, so that's nice. Shine it up a little bit. Also, I went through and put some hose clamps on the hoses where I had the right size clamps to fit, and replaced whatever these are, because those are stupid. And so, yeah, extra parts, no big deal. I found this one on pictures. It's got a spot for a wire loom and something to clip on there. It basically just bolts onto the exhaust back in the back, and I'm not going to do it. And then this one, I'm not sure where it goes. It's got a spot for a wiring harness to go in there, and it, bolts and stuff, and looks like it goes around the corner somewhere. If anyone knows where this goes, text it, write it in the comments, let me know. Otherwise, I guess it's that moment. I'm going to turn the key forward, and first and foremost, just go through and check and make sure it's leaking in all the right spots. I just want to look and make sure I don't have any gasoline pumping out of those, not that, and that. I don't smell any gas. Alrighty. Here we go. Let's fire this thing up. Yeah. All right, bring the thunder. All right, let's fire it up. Yes. So that was a little anticlimactic. I got the charger on the battery. Now let's see what happens. And here we go. Let's fire this thing up.
Is it on fire?